Oh, man. It always surprises me still that people read my books and that you're all here to listen to me. It's just bizarre and beautiful and lovely all at once. And so thank you. I really appreciate you being here and taking the time to spend with us. And Michael's poems were so striking to me. It's hard to describe what I felt when I read them. And that's how I know it's a beautiful poem. I saw the way in which he paid attention to the smallest details, which for me is always a sign of good writing. The writing was precise, alive, exuberant, perhaps. I could also tell that he loved to write. I could tell that he loved to read, that he was excited to sit down and engage in this art that is so solitary and so satisfying for so many of us. And so there's just so much to say about it. One thing that I loved in particular was how he makes these leaps. He takes these risks. And I feel like poetry is all risk. And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't get it. And he truly, truly does. I can really sense an immense talent here. So, Michael, please share your poems with us.
Growl. I'm most Korean when I'm hungry. Minutes within entering my harmony's home, I am eating. Never mind that I'm not hungry. I don't have the words to say, no thank you. I don't have the heart. This is her bibimbap. She has 2 languages to say I love you. Radish and bean sprouts and toraji and gosari and cucumber and gogi and shigumchi and an egg and gochujang, blessed vehicles of changiram. I chew the week of her hands. I chew her season's harvests. The flavors and textures bind home on a spoon. I swallow. I have 1 language to say I love you. I get seconds. I tell her again. My harmony says eat well as she picks the last grains of rice from my bowl. My harmony tells me to always finish my rice. When she was young, her mother would offer her own bowl, say, I'm not hungry. A lie, my harmony says she ate greedily, starving. Now, starving is a bird my harmony wrung to feed her family. I try to tell her how much she means to me, how I want to make her proud. My mouth is full, I swallow. This is all my Korean. My harmony fed me, feeds me. She is feeding my hunger to be hungry enough to eat well long after she is dead, to eat my grief when my children don't visit, when my grandchildren can't speak my language, save for this terrible gnawing. Thank you all for being here tonight. I want to give a special thanks to Erica Sanchez for reading and selecting my work. I thank you for that introduction. And to the department for providing this opportunity. This group of poems are especially centered around my identity, my Asian American identity, as well as my family, all of whom I cherish and hope to honor through their stories and their histories. Fishtail. What are you? I am mostly water. Sunbeams bounce from your carbon-based body to mine and back to your eyes. What are you? I am what my parents wanted. Where are you really from? I come from the ocean. Slicked the brine off my gills. With open mouth I sputtered. A babbling brook. How do you speak like us? Gifted with knives point first, I accepted all your offerings, unsure how to be ungrateful. I thought my scales would be hard, all full of steel, untouchable to any skin, even kin. How do you speak like us? Jonah was swallowed by a whale. Errors make happy accidents, like a hook in the mouth, like, who are you? I am strange English. I am strange English. I am broken English, my harmony said. What do you want? I want my parents want. What child doesn't? Buttoned into white coats, a prized fishling. Do you want? I was born to survive, living a luxury for later. For now, I practice permission to be mine. This next poem uses lyrics from the song Your Best American Girl by Mitski. Mitski Cento of Estrangement, 3 ways. For my mother, for myself. All-American boy, you're all I ever wanted to be. Your mother wouldn't approve, but I couldn't help trying. I can't regret this. My mother raised me how my mother raised me. I think I'm an all-American boy. My mother wouldn't approve, trying to be not even a star, but I do. I think I do. All-American boy, my mother raised me how my mother raised me. You're all I ever wanted to be, I think. I'm an all-American boy. Your mother wouldn't approve, my mother wouldn't approve, but I couldn't help trying to be not even a star. I can't regret this, but I do. I think I do. This next poem is dedicated to my dad. Inheritance. My father told me this story after my harabuji died. Once, my uncle came home crying. He'd been beat up by some punk, so my harabuji beat him, my uncle, for his weakness. Then, my harabuji beat that kid too. My father, then not yet my father, saw this. Growing up, us kids were spanked on the butt. The last time, I was not old enough to know better, but old enough to realize I'd been afraid for nothing. It doesn't hurt, I told my father, defiant. His arm hung in the recoil. Furious, my father said, "It's not supposed to hurt," and turned away. I left, confused by shame. I think about this whenever I clench my fist, drawing the line from knuckle to elbow, a bolt in the crossbow of my shoulder. Who I could look like, how my harabuji looked to my uncle, bloodied, or my father who, afraid of strike and recoil, saw who we could become. And before I read this last poem, I just want to thank everyone again for being here tonight. You never know who shows up, not only on a Chicago winter night, but also for a poetry reading. When I graduated college, I was a little terrified to be away from the structures of regular writing and regular reading and people who, were doing the same thing as you, going to classes with you, the community that might know your work best. And as I started medical school, I did my best to read and to write and to continue that. But fears were that, that would be the last time that I could be a poet. And I felt incredible imposter syndrome when I went to readings and feeling like, wow, that's Tarfia Faizullah. I'm an absolute worm. And, it never really went away. And, medical school got busier and I had less time to read, to write. In the pandemic, you never felt like you had the mental space for it. And none of my work was getting published. And for a while, I had to just sort of let a lot of that go. What kind of brought me here today started, maybe about a few months ago, actually, only 5 or 6 months ago, when I wrote what would become this last poem. I was on a bus going to meet a friend, and I just thought of my mom, and I just started drafting and crying and drafting and crying. And I had marvelous friends and readers who continued to read my work and support. And once I sort of found that solace and contentment in my own work and my own craft, things started to happen after that. So this is a huge honor to be here, not because it validates, but it rewarded, I guess, the ethic that I put in and the confidence that I defined in myself. So just thank you all again for being here. Good boy, with thanks to and lines from Vivi Francis. Dear dog, what separates us is not who she loves more, but what our love can do. Boy, Mom says, another baby in the house, and I trace the ache of her bent back when she feeds you by hand. It's been a while since I was home, but I can hear your barks, the clatter of your nails on tile pacing at the door, and her first word through it, Colby. And excited, you pee, and she bends again to clean it. But dog, have you made her cry? Spent too long at home and frustrated by the ways neither of you will change. What kind of boy are you? She said. The kind who wants to live, but reared to survive, I said, a monster. Sometimes I feel like you think I'm a monster. After her retreat, I dared to look at her blank face, her back now bent into the couch. And you were there, in her lap, ignorant, your love, blunt and simple, to break through our mess, to break the ache in her back, like a stone, like a dog. Dog, thank you. Dog, are you taking care of her? Are you going on walks? Her blood pressure is high. Be good. I worry her too much. Don't you fucking leave her. Dog, are you with her right now? Please tell me what her face looks like on the phone, when she calls me baby, when she asks me, when are you coming home? Thank you.